Okay, so now it is July 12th, 2019. Yesterday, I took Amari to see the physiotherapist and whatnot, and we're making plans to have him go to the Children's Hospital for some hip monitoring, and he's getting a brace, which means he has to sleep with it at night, and then at some point in the future, more than likely, if he's able to have it in terms of, health-wise, hip surgery, people. And that's because he doesn't walk. He doesn't move. He doesn't bring his legs up and put pressure with the hip bone going into the socket. The only way to keep the hip bone in the socket is to have impact pressure. So when you're standing up, it's pushing on each other, and that's what holds the hip in the socket. And because no physical activity does that for Amari, it's slipping out. On one hip, he's at 30%, 30, 31, something like that. And on the other hip, he's pushing 40, and they don't like it past 30. So, my heart is crying, right? For him. Because, facing surgery, and he's not even 2 yet. So, and then the pediatrician that we had before has made a referral for a nutritional team. You're working with more than one person as you work with the whole team that works with Amari in terms with all the various different aspects of his development. Because it's all compartmentalized. It's all put into compartments. Everybody works in their own little department in a compartment. It's a department within a compartment to a compartment to a compartment. And you got department over here and department over there with all their little compartments. So that's kind of like, it's like a web. So I'm going to be doing that, take him downtown on August 1st for the hip stuff. In the meantime, I'm just going to upload this video because what's happening over the next few days now is I'm going downstairs, hardcore, and I'm working between the garage, the back, and inside the basement because everything is getting ripped up down there in terms of the kitchen floor and the one main cupboard, and it's all being replaced with new subflooring and a new counter with the piping and whatnot, right? So I have to clear everything out of the kitchen that's on the floor and make sure whatever's on the counter is off. So that's what I'm doing today. But what I wanted to do is do my video, like I said I would, right, in terms of where Shimei was sitting and just kind of the general scenario before all this ripping apart occurred. And I've been talking about it for a while, right? But, people are kind of like, we're still stuck on the day when Shimei died, people. Right? In terms of, poof, she was gone and nothing moved. Like, when I go down, I'm going to take a video. This is how it's going to work, okay? When I go down and I'm going to take a video of what it looks like right now. Then, as I'm now moving things around, to move things out, to move things into the living room to accommodate for this major kitchen restoration, right? I'm going to take the video of where Shimei was approximately sitting and just, you'll see, right? But I have to move furniture and place it back where it was before I Can you just leave for a minute? Hold on a minute. Okay. So basically what I'm saying is over the next couple of weeks, especially over the next 3 days on my part anyway, I am doing a lot of just that mule work, that grunt work, that really heavy, dirty, gritty, you know. I'm in the yard, in the garage. I'm going to be having to, I won't be doing it in the next 3 days, but I'm going to get everything ready so that up in the rafters, right, in the garage where that, those planks are flaking off, I have to take wood, thin pieces of wood, piece them up there, and then run 2x4s on those beams, or 2x2s or something on those beams to hold that stuff up so that shit stops falling, right? A leaky boat is better than no boat, people, okay? It's one of those boat situations, just patching it up. So anyway, I'm going to upload this, and then I'm going to start fresh when I get downstairs. I'm going to do my video, I'm going to date it, and then once I do my pan, put the video down, then I'm going to, before I move things out or around, I'm going to basically put back, it's one key piece of furniture that needs to be where I'm going to put it, because that's, in my opinion, when he came down the hall, okay, in regards to how Shamay's body was moved at 9 o'clock, okay, at between 9 and 10 after 9, and how nobody noticed, okay, is because there was a dresser there. There was a dresser there. So when you come down the hall, you go like this, and Shamay was right here. So if you had moved her and you needed someplace to hide, because Tisha was going in and out down the hall in her bedroom with the laundry room, switching over laundry, that person who moved Shamay's body could have simply went behind the dresser and just stood there for a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes or whatever. Or he could have laid down on the ground, flat on his stomach, and hid that way if he wanted to after Shamay's body was laid. Because what happened was, and this is why, I won't get into it today, that's not what we're trying to do here. This is why we're stuck in limbo, people. I'm not going to rush today because I'm going to be rushing downstairs all day, man. Next 3 days, it's the Hulk. Right? It's like you can't imagine, people. And like my body is so sore these days. Like, I don't know. So anyway, especially my feet. But besides that point, I have to set up this scenario, walk you through it, and it's making us uncomfortable. Not me, per se, because, you know, I've been on it since day one, right? In terms of being vocal and visual and just whatever, right? So, it's my duty to my daughter to not drop the torch, right? So this is something I'm going to do. It's making my kids feel uncomfortable because it's bringing to the surface the reality of what happened, where, how many months it's been since she's been gone? 16 months, 15 months. She died in April, May, June, right? So that's 14 going into the 15th month. She's been gone 15 months and we're sitting here with absolutely no resolution. And here's mother stirring up the pot downstairs in the basement, basically. Well, you're just trying to stir up the pot. No, I'm not stirring up the pot. What I'm doing is I'm bringing to the surface the reality of what happened. And for people to be able to understand what happened, sometimes they need to see something. Because people learn or think or connect different things in different ways. So if I show the general vicinity of where Shamay was sitting, what the rooms looked like, who was where, at what time, and how I interpreted the situation, and put it to something that people can actually look at as they're listening to the story and focus. As it's coming to the surface, you know, it's like taking skeletons out of a closet. And we don't have the skeletons, people. They're not our skeletons. Other than we have Shamay's spirit maybe in the house. right along with Uncle John. You know, Shimei died in the basement. You know, has her spirit left the house? There is no resolution. We have no resolution, people. And by me doing this next video, it's bringing up to the surface, you know, skeletons that are frightening in the fact that, do we have to go a lifetime without resolution? Because if I bring up those skeletons, then it reminds us, you can't run away from the fact that there is no resolution. But I'm doing the video so that over a period of time, with the help of others, we can come to a resolution as a family, and for myself personally, as a mother. But as a mother right now, it is my duty to hold that torch. And so when I'm like being screamed at, oh, don't you do that, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do no matter what. Like, you know, I'm 58 years old. Don't razz me in my last years of my life. You know, you don't have no right to be razzing me before I die, especially on important things. And just because you don't necessarily see it as important, you know, I'm the one holding that torch. I'm the one with the duty as Shimei's mother to get justice for Shimei. And this is evidence. And talking about it is one thing, but actually giving people an opportunity to visualize how long, well, like, for example, not visualize, I won't visualize how long the haul is. In the next day or two, I'll get my measuring tape and I'll freaking measure it so that we know how long the haul is. Because if somebody is coming down the hall and you can't hear them right up until the last second, when all of a sudden you look up and they're standing there in their shorts, right over Shimei, as your sister is going through the death rattle, you thinking it's snoring, and there's somebody standing right over her, right, listening to this, in his undershorts, as you're sitting basically in the dark kitchen, having a smoke, and, you know, having a conversation, but you didn't hear him walk down the hall. You didn't hear him come. You just kind of like, whoa, where did, you know, he goes, oh, where did you come from? She goes, well, hey, you know, I'm having a smoke. I'm going to show you through this next video that I'm not going to upload for a while. I'm going to do the video, but because it's bringing up skeletons, it makes my family feel uncomfortable. I'm trying to explain this to you because I've been saying for a while I was going to do this video, so I know people are waiting for it. The problem is I'm getting a lot of flack from my kids because they feel uncomfortable, not because they don't want you to see what the fuck it looked like or how it happened so that they can figure it out and get resolution. But it's just because it's making us feel uncomfortable because it's been 15 months and there is still no resolution with that freaking bickering bubbling. Right? Without them realizing what's going on. And I'm having to explain myself in terms of, well, people go on cycles. We're on that cycle again. The more I up the ante and more that torch becomes brighter, the more the bickering starts. Not because they want the truth, not because they want freaking resolution, because they don't care about resolution. We do, though. So, out of respect for my kids, basically, I'm not going to be able to upload the next video through that little walkthrough for a couple, 2-3 weeks. I can do it, but what has to occur first is the basement needs to be getting on with its, restoration. And then when that settles down and we've got the new flooring and the new cupboards and, you know, the paint, and we're almost done painting and the bathroom's done and all the miscellaneous junk is out and things have been, you know, it's a different and kind of supposed to be, you know, it's brighter, it's newer, you know, then we can move on. That's when I'll upload what I'm going to do today in the basement. Because what's happening today is I'm down there, I'll walk you through it, show what I have to do, And then I'm going to move that one key dresser where it was, because this is important. That is where I found the drug phone, was on top of the dresser. I gave the cops his drug phone. And you know what the cops did with that drug phone? They called it private property and didn't look in it. I don't know if they gave it back to him. But because it was private property, they didn't have the right to open it up and fucking see what was going on in there. Okay? I can tell you the story around that phone. I'm not going to be able to show you the video, though, until some of these skeletons get tossed out into the fucking garbage can. And that ain't going to happen until we start clearing out the basement and getting on with those kitchen repairs. Right? But as that's happening, all these feelings are bubbling up, and my kids are like, they're having a hard enough time just to maintain and hold it together right now as it is. And then along comes mom stirring up the pot. Right? So before I finish this video, and I don't want to drag it on too long because I still have to now take it and convert it and then upload it, and by the time I get downstairs it will be freaking noon. But I can do vegetables and stuff because I bought some vegetables and stuff. I want to make some more fermented cucumbers. So, okay, so the phone. I'll tell you the issue around the phone and why it's so important that in a couple, 2-3 weeks that you see the video of where this dresser was before I take the dresser out of the basement today. Right? I'm just not going to upload the video that I'm doing today after I move the dresser. And then after that, then we go on with basement restoration. So there will be one video missing, and then I'll probably get into little basement restoration. Look what the boys are doing, and oh yay, the floor is out, and oh my god, what are we gonna, I'll do those little videos, right? But I'm not gonna do the one right after this one with this dresser, because it is so important. And this is what I tell my kids: I have to do this video, because if I don't do the video, just because I tell people on the members and friends, right, or whoever, having a conversation with somebody, just because I say, oh yeah, there was this dresser here, and on this dresser there was this phone, and and blah and blah, they can't visualize it. But if I do the video with the actual dresser, of the real dresser that was there in that position, then you can see, and when I tell you the story, or you'll think back on the story, you'll be able to put the story together, because it's the clue. So on this dresser anyway, which I'm going to do today, was a phone. This was after Shimei was gone. Her body was gone. Tisha had left already. Everybody, Julian, they were all gone. They went to the hospital and whatnot. Right? Or maybe it was the next day. Honestly, I don't remember. It should be written down. I wrote a timeline. I gave it to the cops. So there should be an actual time of finding that drug phone. But anyway, after everybody was gone, and I was down there looking for papers, and I was in the living room looking for like clues or what was wrong with Shimei, right? Because I'm still sitting at home, don't know what's going on. Now you have to remember, my daughter died of fentanyl, people. So that says that there was fentanyl in the house. Okay? But I didn't know. I didn't know what was wrong with her. Nobody, the paramedics, they must have known, because they come into contact with people who die with fentanyl all the time. Apparently they Narcaned her 4 times, so they must have thought that she was on fentanyl. But the thing is, people, when a body dies, I know I'm jumping with it, but when a body dies, after about 15, 20 minutes, I don't know how, I read it, I'd have to confirm it, but I don't know what it is, but it gets cloudy in there. It starts to change. The pupil, the whiteness, you get blood pooling, and it gets cloudy. And it apparently starts to happen pretty fast. I never opened up Shimei's eyes and looked. I should have. But I was into CPR mode. And I didn't know what to think. Right? because it blindsided us. But the paramedics would have noticed it. They would have noticed, people. She was dead for over 90 minutes. 50 minutes. From 9:10 to 10. 9:10 a.m. in the morning till 10 a.m. 10 a.m. in the morning. That's 50 minutes she was dead. Because she died sitting up at 8:55. And her body was moved between 9 and 9:10. And that's why this dresser is so important. So anyway, I'm running around looking for clues to what happened to Shimei. And not only that, but paperwork for Amari. Only because the man used to threaten me of all those things. Burning my house down, whatever. And that I would never get the baby. And being that my daughter was carried out in a hammock with 6 men with a police officer telling me it doesn't look good. After they pounded on her chest basically for 20 minutes. Like, there was nothing to be found in the living room. Nothing. No clothes, no ashtrays, no glasses of water, no candy wrappers, nothing. But as I was going about, no, I'm not the one who found it. I'm not the one who found it. It was Marcane who found it. Because Marcane gave it to Tisha. The cell phone. I was told where it was. That's why in my brain, these are these skeletons. These are these painful moments. Because not only do you think God blesses you in terms of when it finally came to me, so I could give it to the cops, in our little pea brains, as a family, we were thinking by this point, we got him because we had his drug phone. Right? So anyway, it's one of those flip phones, I think, right? So anyway, I think it was Marcane who found it the next day, or whenever he got home from work, or whatever it was. And then he gave it to Tisha in passing, as everyone's rushing around. And then Tisha stuck it in her pocket, got into her boyfriend's car with the baby and went off and did whatever. And through the hustle and bustle, forgot about the phone, which had fell out of her pocket and went underneath the car seat of Alex's car, which is Tisha's boyfriend, to where Alex was rooting around in his car a day or so later, or whatever it was, and he found this phone, and he flipped it open, and all of a sudden it exploded with, I guess you call Texas, with tons and tons and tons and tons of Texas. It was just like a cash machine that was with a lot of code shit in it, because it was a drug phone, so they were using codes. So anyway, Alex phones up Tisha and says, "What the fuck? What's this phone in my car? Like, what are you doing?" Like, thinking maybe, she's got something else going on the side with another guy or something, right? And she goes, "Oh, no, that's Julian's phone. That's his phone, right? Marcane gave it to me and must have slipped out of my pocket." So anyway, that's when I get it. Finally, I get it, right? And I'm like, when I get this phone, people, and I find out what this phone was, in terms of a drug phone, I was just ecstatic. Because you have to remember, by the time I came in at 9 o'clock, I told those nurses at that hospital to keep everybody out from Julian's side of the family. Because there was conflict before Shimei had even died. It wasn't, the conflict was just with Julian. It was with his sister and even the mother, because Shimei hadn't seen that woman for 6 months or so, going on almost 7 months, because I'm going to upload this video. These are these skeletons. Can you hear the bones rattling? Okay. 2 weeks or so prior to Shimei's death, Tisha, because she was 7 months pregnant, went to the prenatal clinic where Shimei went, where Fraser Health Authority staff have listed that she had no prenatal care, even though she was going to the prenatal clinic. Okay. And that woman, Julian's mother, because she works there, asked Tisha to ask Shimei if she could see the baby. Tisha came home, asked Shimei. Shimei ended up making arrangements, took the baby to go see her, then came back. The grandmother wanted to see the baby again. Shimei didn't feel comfortable because of the issues that happened before when she was like 4 days out of the hospital, right? It wasn't 4 months, it was 4 days. Shimei came out of the hospital, she came home, I put her back in her own room, I told her she could live upstairs for, anywhere from 3 to 6 months as she had her baby. The only thing I didn't want was for Julian or anybody else to be coming into my house and having free reign. If she wanted to visit with people, it didn't really matter, right? I'm not going to single out Julian, but I didn't want Julian in the house. I didn't want, right? You go downstairs in the living room and have your little visits there. The problem was Julian and his sister started coming to my house at 3, 4 in the morning and were badgering Shimei to see the baby as I was sleeping. So now I've got the enemy in the house, right? After, right? In my actual living space. It was bad enough he was downstairs. Now he's upstairs running around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, going into my stuff with his sister. And after about 3 days of that, I said, Shimei, that's it. You need to go back downstairs. I can't have you guys running around my house. That wasn't the deal. The deal was you come upstairs, have your old bedroom back, and, I'll be there just very easy for you with the baby. It's a beautiful room. That's what you want. And just keep your visits to downstairs or out of the house. But they didn't want that, people. So they bamboozled her and they rushed her and they bum rushed her at 4 or 5 in the fucking morning, and disrespected her mother. Right? And then because they knew that I'd get fed up and send her back downstairs, and because the girls were in the process of switching rooms over where Shimei was going to get the bigger room and Tisha was going to get the smaller room, they said, hey, come to our house, come to my mother's house. Come spend a week there while we switch over these bedrooms. So Shimei said, okay. So she went, and not even the first fucking day she was there, or the second day, they were bugging her for rent. But she had already paid her rent here. She was supposed to be upstairs in her own bedroom, people. But they couldn't fucking stay out of my house. They were running around here 3, 4 in the fucking morning with a bad fucking attitude. Are you hearing the bones rattle? Because this is the shit that was going on. So Shimei goes there. Not only is she being bugged for rent, but within a couple, 3 days, right? Not only did they trick her with the birth certificate, because I told her, you will do the birth certificate. You make sure if you want to put his name, I said, you make sure you put your name on there. Right? So they're doing all this shit online. Pick a fight with her. Took off her name off the birth certificate and pushed send. When she realized what happened, it was too late, people. She was going to take Julian to court in front of a judge to get him to sign the papers so that she could put her last name on the birth certificate of her own child because he refused to do it. And because the grandmother wanted to start, okay, let me finish what happened though. So that happened. And then some other little fucking... Now, Shimei had just gotten out of the hospital. It wasn't even 5 days. She had a cesarean section. Okay? They were successful to get her out of a wonderful room that she loved took her out of her own house, brought him over there, started asking her to pay rent, fucking fucked her around on the birth certificate, and then another fight broke out between Julian and her, and because she said, I'm out of here, I don't know what the fight, I can't remember, that's why Shmai's dead, because she can't come here and tell you her side of the story. You have to hear it through us, as she told us, right? There's those bones rattling for us people, right? So she thought, fuck the shit upstairs, I'm gonna go get the baby. And I'm out of here. She was only there for like 4 or 5 days, not even that. Like 3 days, 4 days, like fuck, it was like it happened so fast, man. And what do you call it? She goes into the living room, and there's the sister standing there holding the baby with the mother sitting on the couch, and the sister is saying, phone so-and-so, so I can leave with the baby. So she could leave with a newborn baby. As her brother is running around terrorizing the mother who just had a fucking C-section, and really should be at home in her old bedroom with that baby. Okay? So Shmai's now saying, give me my baby. And that girl didn't want to hand over the baby. So little bickering going on there. Finally, she gave her the baby. She said, give me my phone. The girl didn't give back the fucking phone. And Shmai took a fucking taxi and left. She left everything behind. It took about 2 weeks before that grandmother brought that shit back, dropped it off with a bad fucking attitude, and left. And Shmai didn't see her again, people. Again. Until 2 weeks or so before she died. Because it was Tisha going to the prenatal clinic, being asked to see the baby, relaying that to her sister when she got home. Shmai said, okay, I'll compromise. As Shmai is asking this numbnuts to be signing the papers so that she could put her name on the birth certificate, right? Because she wants to go see her dad or whatever, right? Her name should be on that birth certificate. That's her baby. They weren't married, right? He had done nothing to earn the right to have sole name on that birth certificate. It was stolen by being bamboozled with an argument so that her name was taken off and the send button was sent to the federal fucking government. She was trying to correct that with diplomatic cooperation. Let's work together and get it done so there's no bickering, that building up of all that fucking drama. But the drama had to keep going. Gotta keep up with the fucking drama. It's like fucking masturbation, man. Like, serious. So, she leaves. She never did get her phone back. She asked for it, but that was never given back to her. All right, so you can consider that to be theft. And then, because, time had passed, wounds heal. Okay, people, I was having problems with my camera because on that little disc thing was full. Anyway, I got cut off, so let's just continue. I forgot what I was talking about, kind of. Right? He had done nothing to earn the right to have sole name on that birth certificate. It was stolen by being bamboozled with an argument so that her name was taken off and the send button was sent to the federal fucking government. She was trying to correct that with diplomatic cooperation. Let's work together and get it done so there's no bickering, that building up of all that fucking drama. But the drama had to keep going. Gotta keep up with the fucking drama. It's like fucking masturbation, man. Like, serious. So, she leaves. She never did get her phone back. She asked for it, but that was never given back to her. Right? So you can consider that to be theft. And then, because, time had passed, wounds heal. All right. That's where I got kicked out. Because what was on my camera, in terms of that space on that little disc or wherever it is, was full. Now I have 10 hours and 23 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this video, and then once I'm uploading it, that's when I'm going downstairs, people, and I'm just hardcore 3 days. Hardcore 3 days. Nothing but a work mule. Right? Okay. So as I was saying, if I can get back into it, you know, she comes home. You see, I got cut off from it, right? She comes home. You know, she got her stuff back 2 weeks later, and she didn't see. It's talking about the grandmother, right? Didn't see the grandmother from that time forward, from that first week of her being over there, because she got ran out of her own house, basically, bum rushed, manipulated, bamboozled, tricked, right? And because Tisha had ran into the woman and she wanted to see the baby, you know, heal. Time passed, and she said, okay. She tried to connect with the grandmother, but because there was that distance in there, right? That distance of 6 months and a bit, you know, 6.5 months or whatever it was, 6 months, she didn't feel comfortable with the woman. So she asked Julian, because the woman wanted to see the baby again, right? So she asked Julian specifically to go back with her to that woman's house, to the mother's house, to grandmother's house, Julian's mother's house, with her, because she, you know, she had no relationship with this woman, and the woman was putting pressure. And don't forget the drama that was there when she went just for supposedly a week or so, as initially the 2 rooms downstairs were being switched over so that Shimei could have the bigger room. And, you know, because Shimei was asking for Julian at that time to sign, you know, the birth certificate, because it was either he signed the paper agreeingly on his own. I don't remember if there was a fee for it in regards to the federal government, but there was a specific form that they filled together as parents. He agreed, she sent out the form, and then they would reissue a new birth certificate with her name on it as well as his. But he refused to do it. So she started threatening him that if you keep it up, I don't mean like threatening, but I'm sure she told him at some point through, you know, her little whatever, right? That, you know, fuck, I'm getting tired of this. You know, I'm going to have to take it to court. So, right? I mean, you know, he just was balking as the grandmother was putting pressure at this point to be taking the baby to go see her, because she's the victim. She never gets to see the baby, as Shimei is asking the father to come with her because she doesn't really know her mother. And considering what happened the last time she was there at the house when she got out of the hospital, she didn't feel comfortable going back and forth on her own. She felt that Julian should have participated in that process. And because Julian was refusing to sign those papers, you know, it was, but yet at the same time, people, he was bugging her to fucking co-parent. All of a sudden, the word co-parenting started coming out of Shimei's mouth, because I'm like, fuck Shimei. Like, you know, you just need to get on with your life, man. Like, dump this dude, take it to court, do whatever. Then she said, well, if I take it to court, I'm going to tell the judge that Julian is a drug dealer. And I said, oh, Jesus Christ, Shimei, don't make matters worse, right? You know, fucking the cops out there, people know, right? Let him get caught in his own fucking time. But you see, that's the thing, people. The cops don't fucking stop him. Even when they get the fucking phone. What did they do? They protected him. Because that's what I was talking about before it fucking kicked out, right? That stupid fucking drug phone. Right? I have picture of Julian on his flip fucking drug phone to compensate for the phone that flipped, that went to the cops. So nobody can't say it wasn't Julian's phone because Marcaine happened to find it up atop that fucking dresser. Which is a key evidential point. When you murder somebody, no matter how hard you can control yourself and put on a fucking charade, your heart's going like this. It's an adrenaline rush. It's that like little fucking bickering, you know, that makeup sex. Are you hearing those skeletons rattle? I do. Fucking hear it? Anyway, that's how I scare my YouTube viewers away, because I swear and I get passionate about things. So, because I have an actual picture of him on his fucking phone that flips with the exact type of phone Because that's what drug dealers do. They don't use their normal cell phones. They use something that they can just throw away. Bobby, with his heart going like this, left his fucking phone on that fucking dresser. My son happened to fucking find it. Gave it to Tisha. She put it in her pocket. And because her sister was in the hospital, as we're being told that, you know, they're looking after her really well and that she's just sick. The phone fell out of her pocket, and you know the story, right? You know? So, and because Shimei, over a period of time, was getting tired of listening to the bullshit. Yo, baby, yeah, no problem. Don't worry, baby. I'll quit selling drugs because, yeah, baby, I know you want me to go get a job. Yeah, I'll go get one in 2 weeks, baby. Just let me finish up what I gotta do, baby. Don't leave me, baby. She was gullible. Only she started to smell the coffee. How many months do you have to say, oh, baby, yeah, no, baby, don't worry, baby. I'll quit selling drugs, baby. But he never did, people. And that's the thing. And even when the cops got the fucking phone, had witnesses to verify that it was his phone, right? They completely ignored it. And they protected him. Because they didn't go into it. They didn't even open it. What kind of fucking cop shop do you have when a fucking cell phone shows up with all the codes in it? When you're dealing fucking crack, meth, heroin, fentanyl, morphine, cocaine, and God knows what else you're fucking dealing with. Because there's a whole list of them there. What kind of cop would ignore that shit unless the fucking cops got something to hide? Because they never fucking did anything with it. They probably just gave it back to him and said, here you go, sir. I'm a nice RCMP. Here you go, sir. Don't worry, we didn't look. We protect your privacy. So I'm going to show you where that cell phone was. It was on top of that dresser. Because through his adrenaline rush, he forgot it. Because I highly doubt he left it there on purpose. Because the day Shimei died in the basement, right? Her phone disappeared for 24 fucking hours. Until he showed up the next day and planted it back into her bedroom. After he went in there and took out a TV and a PlayStation that had been there for over a fucking year. As he's running around telling everybody that he was in a common law living relationship with Shimei because he felt that if he said common law, by default, he would get the baby. And then they would get all those government subsidies. Nobody knew at that time, though, that Amari had cerebral palsy. All we knew was Amari was cross-eyed, and we had to figure out why. And it turns out the grandmother is cross-eyed, so it could have been hereditary, but Amari's situation is not hereditary. He had the chromosome test. His is brain injury, which happened while in her stomach or in a 3-day period of going into contractions and then finally having a C-section. But that's for another day. So I don't know where I was going with this, people, other than the skeletons are coming out of the fucking closet, and it's my responsibility to carry on with that torch and to provide the people that are paying attention to these videos, right, of the best of my ability to the visualization of where I think he hid in that 10-minute window of transitional period between picking up her body and laying it down and then sneaking back off into the bedroom as Tisha was going between her bedroom and the laundry room, switching over laundry, which took no more than 10 minutes. And that's why Shimei laid on that couch for 50 minutes. So why the paramedics, when they looked in her eyes, didn't acknowledge that she was dead for at least 50 minutes, if not up to 60, 1 hour. And just would have pronounced her dead then. Because if they, and I'm going to end it on this note, people. If they would have pronounced her dead then, my basement would have been coronated off with fucking crime scene tape. And I would have had the coroner personally come to my house and look around. Evidence would have been collected and documented. And being that Shimei was pronounced dead, she would have went directly to a forensic autopsy facility and had the police stand there with the forensic autopsy person perform the autopsy on my daughter with the police witnessing it as her piece of this and piece of that and piece of that was all labeled, documented for date, and sent off to the right facilities for multiple testings as to what was wrong with her. And if she would have died of natural causes, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. But that's not what happened. What happened was she was made to look alive so that her body could be transported to the hospital and within 7 hours look like she was embalmed. And then proceeded to rot for 8 days, as we were told not to touch or take pictures or do any of this fucking shit. But yet everybody and anybody under the sun could walk in and out of her ICU room ward, no matter who that person was or where they came from, because that was the right thing for Shimei, even though Shimei was dead. So, I don't know where I'm going with this other than what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to upload until the basement is almost done with the kitchen. However, I will, as the boys are working on the kitchen. I think that's an amazing feat that my son is taking on the job. We've got Edgar there. I'm excited for the boys to have their brand new kitchen. And, you know, and Tisha, right? They got a brand new kitchen, people. Landlady's putting in a freaking carburetor. I mean, who wouldn't be happy, right? It's just, you have to make the investment in order to get the rewards. So my kids are, my son, right, is putting in some time because he's got a couple of weeks off of work because his boss goes on holidays and whatnot, right? So we're starting like ASAP, but I've got to do this video, which I'm going to hold up on and not upload. Like, I'll upload this so you get the story and you can start thinking about the real fucking this shit. Damn, let's really get these things fucking rallying. You hear?